local people, local news and events, local sports, local matters. For all things Lloydminster area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Hey, welcome into the new Lloydminster Nissan, now located on Highway 17 South, and you're invited to come down, check out our incredible lineup here, including the brand new 2025 Muranos, which have arrived, and we have a great selection of styles and colors, and there's some new colors you're absolutely going to love. And the 2025 Armada and Armada Pro 4X are here as well. Now, speaking of a great selection, right now here at the new Lloydminster Nissan, you can get into a brand new Rogue, a 2024 Rogue for up to $5,000 off, and 2024 Armadas. We're blowing those out too with up to $5,000 off as well. Big snow on the way, apparently. If you need new tires, come check out the tires here at the new Lloydminster Nissan, because you can get into your new set of tires at cost here at the new Lloydminster Nissan. Kagan Kneen is our guest. He's the executive director of the Lloydminster Men's Shelter, and he's here to talk to us tonight about a couple of things, but specifically about the coldest night of the year, which is coming up on February the 22nd here in Lloydminster. Superior Water specializes in nothing but water, and with over 22 years in the business, they're proud and confident that their water and their service is superior. For iron filters, water softeners, reverse osmosis distillers, chlorine removal, and H2S odor removal, give Superior Water a call at 780-875-6636, or you can stop and visit them on their 57th Avenue location right beside Sheepskin Loft, and stay hydrated with pure, clean water. I drink Superior Water because I like the taste, and after all, it is superior water. Well, we have room for two more couples, at least two more couples, to join us this spring as we travel through the Netherlands, Brussels, and France from May 28th to June 13th on the trip that has been customized to honor Canadian contributions in World War I and World War II. We'll see war monuments, Canadian war cemeteries, a concentration camp, war monuments like Vimy Ridge, museums like the Passchendaele Museum. There's also a bunker museum. We'll be at Juno Beach on the 81st anniversary of D-Day. All you have to do is go to lamberttravel.ca today to see the whole trip. It's all laid up day by day over about 2 weeks and where we'll be each day. And we do have a tour guide coming with us. You can also call Lambert Travel at 780-875-4414 or track myself or Heather Price down if you have any questions. Definitely for me, and likely for you too, this is a bucket list trip, so don't miss it. We're looking for two more couples to join us. The 14th Annual Inspiring Women's Conference is February 6th at the Lloydminster Exhibition. And once again this year, the conference will feature a panel of local women. It has a keynote speaker, Tricia Miltimore, and she's going to be speaking about avoiding burnout. Kelly Sidoric with KT&Co told us that there's also a number of breakout sessions with guest speakers, and one of those is with Jackie Dunham, who we've featured on our program.
She is a pharmacist with Lloyd Co-op and specifically heads up the women's health component called Harmonique. So we're really excited to have Jackie coming. She's just doing some amazing work, and we're getting a lot of feedback of interest. People are in that session.
Tickets for the 14th Annual Inspiring Women's Conference are available on Eventbrite. We want to hear your love story this Valentine's Day. Once again this year, Heather and I are looking to sit down with 3 different couples to hear their love story. All couples that appear on Live with Kurt Price and share their story will also receive a $100 Spiros gift card. Love Stories brought to you by Richardson's Jewelry and Spiros, and all you have to do is comment on the post on our page or send us an email to livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. We'll sit down with you and just ask you how you met and just find out how you keep the spark alive. And it's nice to talk to somebody about and hear about different proposals and that kind of thing as well. So just send us an email once again if you'd like to kind of stay private a little bit, then you can certainly do that. But once you're on the show, there's nothing off limits. Center Stage Studios presents Finding Nemo Jr. for 3 performances at the Vic Juba Theatre starting this Friday night and running for 2 more performances on Saturday. Now, Callie Sinclair is one of the performers, and she was really excited when she came in to tell us why you should go get a ticket.
I just want to say that the sets, everybody just has to take a time to notice the sets because our moms and parents have just put a lot of work into it, and I feel like they don't get enough credit. And we are all just really excited to be performing, so we really all have that really excitement to get on there, and we just bring 110%, and so it's really nice for the community to come out and watch us, all the hard work we've done.
Tickets for Friday night or Saturday particularly are still available at vicjubatheatre.ca. Cupcakes for Caregivers is presented by Lloydminster Sobeys and the Lloydminster and District United Way. We're excited to present one special caregiver with a dozen signature cupcakes, and to do so, we need more nominations. You can nominate family members who take care of other family members. Thank goodness for those people that do so, and do so with so much love in their hearts. You can also nominate a health care professional like a doctor, a nurse, home care worker. Just send us an email, livewithkurtprice@gmail.com, and tell us about that special caregiver. Agrivisions is the Midwest's largest trade show and agricultural conference in the Midwest. February 12th and 13th at the Lloydminster Exhibition. Big Daddy Taz will be performing at the Heart of the Farm banquet, and Keith Fournier told us that there are a number of speakers coming in, and they've always focused on the economics of farming, and that's really important right now with what is happening this year.
I think this is about 13 speakers coming in on a wide variety of topics. This year, I mean, the economics ones are always keying in, and especially this year with all the uncertainties of possible tariffs with China or the U.S. and all the unknowns. But for as much fears there's also opportunities, and we also have to think about those.
Go to LloydX.com for all the details, and you can also check out our show from last Monday with Keith Fournier. He was great, told us a lot about what's going to be happening with 13 different speakers there at the conference. They're committed, certified, reliable, and will help you get your life back. BioClean Disaster Services is Lloydminster's local restoration company. They're also Lloydminster's largest restoration company. 1-833-246-8326. If you've experienced a disaster before, you know that it's the everyday things that you're going to miss, whether you're still in your home, but there's a section of it roped off, or whether you have to leave your home or your business for a while. You're going to miss things that you just took for granted every day. Well, they'll help to get you back to that life as soon as possible, taking care of your property, taking care of your belongings, but more importantly, taking care of you and your family. BioClean Disaster Services. 1-833-246-8326. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Kagan Kneen's here to talk to us about the coldest night of the year.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
At CK McKean Roofing, they understand what it took to put that roof over your head for your family. With over 20 years of experience under their belt, they strive to show you that with their workmanship and their integrity. Not all roofing companies are created equal, and that's why CK McKean Roofing encourages you to focus on your most important investments, your home and your family. CK McKean Roofing. Roofers do it on top.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back, You help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
Wellings of Lloydminster is an active 55 and over community with 66 bungalow townhome villas on a very flexible lease. Now, each unit, some one and some two-bedroom units, contain a full kitchen with 5 appliances. And those two-bedroom units, they come with a garage as well. But you're going to love that you don't have to shovel snow. You're going to love that you don't have to cut grass. Whether you're not wanting to do that because of your health, or maybe you're just not going to be home. It's perfect for those people who are starting to experience some health issues, because you can still live independently, but you don't have to worry about getting down on your hands and knees to see if the sink is clogged. You don't have to worry about going out, like I say, in minus 20 to minus 40 weather and shoveling any snow or things like that. And if you're traveling, you don't have to worry about somebody coming over to shovel your driveway. You don't have to worry about something happening with your hot water heater or with your furnace, because it's all taken care of for you. It's called Care Freedom Living, and we invite you to check it out by calling Darlene at Wellings of Lloydminster, 780-872-8537. Well, we're excited to have Kagan Kneen back here at the new Lloydminster Nissan to talk to us about the coldest night of the year. And I was confessing to Kagan that I was really nervous about bringing him on a little bit, because things seem a little quiet right now around the men's shelter, and I don't want to kind of poke the bear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
does that make sense, Kagan? So,
yeah.
But we do want to know what's happening with, the men's shelter and the pause that has come from trying to find a new shelter or expand the shelter. So let's start with, it's been so long since you were here. I want to go back a little ways.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Good Neighbor program that you guys put in the fall.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the Good Neighbor program was actually part of the expansion plan, where we wanted to expand and actually take care of yard maintenance and take care of snow removal for everyone that was essentially on that block. But in order to do that, we would have needed the expansion. We would get more funding from the government so that we could have that additional wage essentially for covering that. So unfortunately at this point we haven't been able to go along with that aspect, but we are still giving back to our community in the fact that we actually re-landscaped our property. So we have actually fresh sod that was put down during the fall as well, which we're very excited about. New gravel that was put in on the walking paths. And then we constantly are monitoring our neighboring properties. So the dental office, the church across, all of those kind of things. So if we see something that's suspicious or doesn't look right, then we're letting those property owners know as well. And then if there's garbage that we're seeing other unhoused community members that are leaving on those properties, we're making sure that we're going out, picking it up, and helping take care of that, even though it's not coming from the 28 that are staying in the shelter. As of the end of September, when after we had that audit done by the government partners, and we are taking care of just the 28 within the shelter, we've seen a drastic reduction in the number of unhoused individuals that are even in our area. And I know a lot of the community members and a lot of the other businesses in our area have seen that drastic decline. So I'm not sure where they're going now, but I know that we've partnered with a lot of the other nonprofits. So the Lloydminster Native Friendship Center, Residents in Recovery, the Olive Tree has been helping with a lot of the food for the unhoused, and then of course the street teams going out and making sure that the unhoused are still taken care of. But we continue just to take care of the 28 that are within our shelter.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. That was such a big change.
Yes.
Like, I think people were a little shocked when they saw the number of people that you'd been helping and feeding.
Yes.
How many was it?
It was just over 250 a month.
Yeah.
So-
See, that's incredible. And to me, when I hear that, I think, oh, there was 250 people there every night? Not so.
No. Throughout the day, so sometimes individuals would come for breakfast, some would come for lunch, some would come for supper, some wanted showers, some wanted laundry services. So it was a variety of different services that we offered. Some we actually offered preparing taxes for individuals, not that were necessarily just unhoused, but anybody that couldn't afford to do their taxes. So we would help them out as well.
So that has really changed things.
It has.
Now, has that been the reason why I say, well, I haven't heard much about, or is it because winter's here and people are sort of having to seek shelter?
When it's summer, there's a lot more visibility to it, just because it is nice. And I ran across the 2 provinces and I could sleep in a tent. I wasn't comfortable most nights, but I could do it. I couldn't do it in the wintertime. So a lot of individuals who are unhoused are still forced to rough sleep, so in tents or in the outdoors, but then some that maybe have some kind of connection, friend or family that is allowing them to stay on couches, there is couch surfing that's going on as well. So people are just trying to stay alive during these winter months, and when it is those cold snaps, it makes it very, very challenging.
So would you say, like I know you want to help as many people as possible, but was that sacrificing other things to help that many people?
It was, and I think that's where after the running for shelter and the fact that we know, based on the point in time count that was done in October as well from the city, there are a lot of unhoused individuals that need additional services. So for us to be able to pivot and then figure out how do we take care of the 28 that we're taking care of, we brought on our caseworker. We found quite a few of our clients have now found employment, which is fantastic. Some that have moved into transitional housing options. But housing is a huge big challenge here in Lloydminster. So affordable housing is challenging, transitional housing is challenging. So having the caseworker working with all of the other agencies, with different healthcare professionals as well, to make sure that the ones that are staying within the shelter are getting those proper services.
Yeah, I ran into a real estate agent the other day, actually, and I said to him, like, just how are you doing and stuff, and he said, well, there's not a lot of product to sell. So just from that standpoint, you can imagine how tough it is to find, affordable housing for people that are living on the street right now as well. Would you say there's a decline in the people who are living on the street right now? Because we saw the numbers come out in the fall, and the numbers were up. But like you say, when winter comes, they're not as visible. Are they still here, Kagan, or?
They're still here, so we're actively working. So if our caseworker, anybody that's staying within the shelter, if they're not from here, but they have that desire to get back home, wherever they are from, we are working with either family members or friends or trying to help them get detox or treatments if that's what they're needing before they're able to go back home and get those supports. So we're actively working to get people back home, but there are a large number of individuals that are still here. With the point in time count, couch surfing was one of the big areas where people were staying. If they're on government support, sometimes they're using that money as well to stay in a hotel for a night or two. So the visibility isn't there all of the time, but during the cold periods, they are still here.
You have 28 people that you help each night. Is it the same 28 people night after night?
For the most part, yeah. So that's the great thing with bringing on the caseworker is we said, if you want to use our shelter facility, you have to commit to working with a caseworker to better yourself, to be able to get your feet back under you. So whatever that looks like, every person has a different journey. If they choose not to work with a caseworker, they can only stay for a maximum of 21 days, and then they actually can't book back into the shelter for another 6 months. So it's changing that attitude that clients have had, where it's now, well, what am I doing to actually get myself out of this situation? How can I better myself? So it's been very, very positive impact on our individual clients. And out of all of the clients that we've had in, we've only had one who has chosen to not actually work with the caseworker, which in my opinion, that's a huge success. And talking to other CEOs and executive directors for other shelters, they're like, that's really high percentage to have for people that are actually wanting to get that help.
So even though you've decreased the number of people, I bet there's been some growing pains.
Yes, definitely some big growing pains. There's the clients that are using our shelter and getting those additional supports. They're not used to having to meet with a caseworker regularly and finding out and thinking long term, well, where do I see myself? What do I want to do? What is my first step, right? So it's putting them into a little bit more of an uncomfortable situation. The other thing that we actually just rolled out a couple weeks ago is actually chores. So we used to have where we would close for a couple hours in the afternoon so that my team could clean, do the laundry, get the floors swept and all of that kind of stuff. So we actually rolled it out, especially because of that cold snap. We don't ask the clients to leave anymore, but now every day, everyone has a different chore that they have to do. So it helps my team out, but it also ensures that the clients don't have to leave the shelter during those really cold, frigid temperatures.
We've seen some nice weather, but there's more cold weather on the way. Do you know where people are going if they can't come to see you?
So I know quite a few of our clients do go to the library, which is fantastic because they're able to use the phones, they're able to use online services, that kind of stuff as well, plus reading and that kind of stuff. So they are going to the mall, but other than that, I'm not really sure where they're going, especially in those cold snaps. The Native Friendship Center has been fantastic, so they're providing them breakfast every morning during the week, so at least they're getting some oatmeal at least. So I know that they've also been letting the unhoused community members warm up in there as well for a little bit. So,
what's the fallout been from the cold weather, though? Like, we might not see it, but what is you do? What are you seeing?
Lots of frostbite, lost limbs. It is very challenging. I've got one client that's staying in the shelter who fell asleep in a snowbank and absolutely froze his hand, and now he's got home care that he has to meet with regularly to try to help heal his hand because he can't even close his fist, right? So there's a lot of extreme situations. I haven't heard of any deaths this year, which is fantastic, and I think that's a huge shout out to the fact that the city was able to come up with a solution for a warming bus and working with some other organizations in order to get something out there for when it is those minus 30 temperatures. But so I'm very grateful for that, but that would be an extreme if we didn't have some kind of solution.
What is the plan moving forward for the men's shelter? Now that do you feel like you're stuck where you are? Do you feel like this is what it's going to be?
I don't feel stuck because that was the big thing with running for shelter, and that's why we're really focusing on Coldest Night of the Year as well. We are going to do these two as probably annual fundraising campaigns to try to raise enough capital so we can expand. Especially after the point in time count, there are more individuals that need beds. And if they are dedicated to working with a caseworker, why wouldn't we give them the proper wraparound support? So I am actively looking at other spaces and opportunities so that we can expand. We need more beds. And it's not, I know that was kind of the myth that was going out there when we were talking about expansion. If you build a bigger shelter, more people will come. That's not the situation. We have unhoused individuals here that want a bed, that want to get some support, and want to find housing solutions long term. But step one is to start with an emergency services. So we are actively looking to try to find a building that is going to be big enough for what we need to provide for all of the unhoused individuals in our community. And if they choose to continue to work with a caseworker, we can help them get back on their feet. So
people have said, well, it needs to be moved out of town, Kagan. We need to have it out of town. Is that kind of what you're focusing on, out of town, or does that not make any sense at all?
It doesn't make any sense for out of town and shelters. So if you actually look there's another municipality that moved their shelter to the outskirts of the city. It sat empty for a long period of time because, and when they done their point of time count, there were very few people actually staying in the shelter because it's not close to the essential services that they need. Unless there's a transportation system, and we don't have a bus system here. As an organization, we can't afford to get a bus, to hire a driver, all of those kind of things as well, to drive individuals, like 28 individuals, if they have 28 different appointments at banks or at registration offices or court or anything like that, they'd be going all over. So it's just not practical, and it's not something that we'd be able to do. So going outside of the city is not an option. and it's not something that we can entertain. And especially after talking to the government partners, it isn't something that would make sense long term.
What's needed, Kagan? Like, is it just a situation of we need to kind of classify these people and saying, you need mental support, you need this kind of support because you are actively looking for a job, you are out there every day putting in resumes and doing this, and you are addicted to alcohol or drugs, so you go here. Like, what do we need?
So that's what I like about our caseworker. As we expand, obviously, we're going to need more caseworkers if we get the new building and all of that kind of stuff. But it's not telling the clients this is what they need. It's having them come up with where they're at, and they actually have to create their journey and their story. So that's why she's meeting with them on a regular basis to figure out, okay, well, what's next for you, right? And then they're like, okay, well, I want to work on a resume. Okay, do you have a template? Have you done one? If not, well, here's a computer for you to build your template, or you want us to help you out with that, or if it is mental health challenges, or if it is addiction issues, then making sure that they're going to the proper support groups and that kind of stuff as well. So it's just really setting each person up for success for where they're at. And it's got to be on their timing, because if we tell them as an agency, this is where you need to be, or this is what you need to do, it's not going to stick. I'm not a parent yet, but I've heard you tell your kids something all the time, they're not going to do it, right? Whereas if you work with them and you make it their idea, they're more prone to do that as well. So,
what success are you seeing with the caseworker and getting people, shelter?
So, shelter,
is that the goal?
The goal is to get everybody moved into a shelter facility. It's
shelter facilities, or in their own shelter?
Their own place. It'd be nice for transitional. There isn't much available. So I'm part of the home base team working with the Olive Tree and a bunch of other organizations there as well. But there aren't a lot of rentals that are available. So talking to Lloydminster Regional Housing Group and Métis Housing, and that's a big struggle across the board right now. So that's why we're actually going to be putting on, so the city's got a housing working group that's putting on a symposium in May, where we're actually going to be bringing in speakers from the city as well as from across Alberta as well as the country to speak in regards to challenges for unhoused community members, transitional housing, in-market housing, as well as affordable housing options. So having developers coming in and speaking, having people with lived experiences that have been homeless and that have now been able to find full-time employment. We have one individual who actually wrote a book, and he's originally from Lloydminster. He wrote a book about being homeless, and now he's working in our community as well. So he's going to be a speaker. So I think it's very important for the community members to also attend the symposium, ask the questions in regards to challenges, not just for here, but as a country, and the things that we're struggling with from a housing perspective.
Just basically clearing up some misunderstandings? Is that what you would say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you kind of resigned that you have to move out of that area, though, in order to expand? Like, is that fact that you have to move out of that area in order to expand?
Well, because the building that we were looking at was no longer on the table, we need to have a bigger space. So area specific, it's not in regards to one certain area of the city that we're like, okay, well, this is where the shelter facility needs to be. We have to look at it also with the city for a zoning and bylaws and all of that kind of stuff. But we need a space that's going to be big enough to be able to accommodate what we need. So more beds for men, potentially looking at options for women as well as unhoused and homeless youth. So there's a big need out there in the community. So it's just now a matter of figuring out what spaces would be able to accommodate that.
When people look at the men's shelter and they see what you're doing, Kagan, they might say, these are just people, their hearts are too big. What do you say to that when you hear that your heart's too big? You have to kind of force these people to go out and get a job and stuff like that. You must hear that.
We hear it, but I also encourage individuals to put yourself in their shoes. Most of us are closer to being unhoused than we are to being millionaires. So how many paychecks am I away from being in that same situation? So take a look at yourself, and what would you do if you didn't have the proper support of friends or family, or maybe you fell on a hard time. Some of our clients lost a parent and then they spiraled into an addiction because they didn't know how to cope. Well, does that mean that they're not worthy of having a home and having a family and having those proper supports? No. So our hearts are big, yes, but I think I really would encourage everyone to put yourself in their own shoes, into an unhoused community member's shoes. When I started the role in March last year, my heart was in the right place, but I also didn't understand. Like when I was going to work, I would see clients that were sleeping on the side of the road or against buildings in the middle of the day. And I know I talked about it during the Running for Shelter when I did tent talks and that kind of stuff. But if it was a storm the night before, they got no sleep. They didn't have a roof over their head. They woke up and they were drenched. So now that the sun is out and they're getting a chance, their body is getting some time to actually recover and actually sleep because they got nothing that night before. So it's just changing that perception and putting yourself in their shoes and have a conversation with them. Like the stories, and if you actually heard most of the stories for the unhoused individuals, it would break your heart. And of course you want to help them out. You want them to be successful in life. And are they going to stumble? Yes. Do we make mistakes even though I'm housed? Yes, right? But we're human. So we've got to be a little bit more empathetic and give them grace when they do struggle.
A lot of that, I bet, will come up in the symposium.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned put yourself in their place.
Yeah.
And that's exactly kind of what you want to do with the coldest night of the year. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into the details on how you can help out with the coldest night of the year.
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Jason Arden and Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden and Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
It's more than just taxes at LNA CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at LNA CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. LNA CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
Welcome back to the new Lloydminster Nissan, now located on Highway 17 South. And right now at the new Lloydminster Nissan, you get $5,000 off a 2024 Rogue, or up to $5,000 off a 2024 Armada. And of course, the new 2025s are arriving, and a lot of them reshaped, especially the Murano. You want to check that one out. We have Kagan Kneen here. He is Executive Director of the Men's Shelter, and we've been talking to him about what's happening at the shelter. And they've kind of, is downsizing the right word?
No, I think probably just gone back to what we had originally started in 2015.
How's that affected your finance? Has that freed up more money for you?
It's freed more money so that we were able to get the additional caseworker brought on, which is fantastic. But now, like the money that we raise for Running for Shelter, we've put aside because we are actively trying to raise money for the capital project, right? So for an expansion. So anything additional that we are able to get from government partners, and we're actively working with the governments for different grant opportunities as well for expansion, because like our finances are online, anybody can see what we're at from a financial perspective.
Right.
So we obviously don't have that in our bank, so it's a matter of trying to figure out the route so that we can do this expansion.
Let's talk about the coldest night of the year. This is a huge fundraiser for the community, and it's, as you had said, putting yourself in someone's place that is out there, and it's really only walking for an hour. But tell us about what the coldest night of the year is all about.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. So the Men's Shelter has actually been part of Coldest Night of the Year since 2013. So we've been partnered with, it's called Blue Sea Org, for many, many years, and we're very proud of the partnership. We've learned a lot in the last few years and being partnered with them, but it's actually a walk that actually goes across North America. So there's it's many charities from across Canada, the United States, that have taken part in Coldest Night of the Year. So I'm on, if not bi-weekly webinars, it's actually weekly webinars, learning about what other organizations do really well in their communities to raise money for the unhoused and people that are struggling. So it's been very eye-opening to learn what successes have happened in other areas and other communities. So it's happening on February 22nd. So start time is registration at around 4 o'clock. The mayor is going to come out and do a welcome from the city right before the walk begins at 5 p.m. It's starting at the Olive Tree. And then we're going to walk down 50th Street all the way down to, I think it's 45th, right by E.S. Laird. We're going to continue on there to Highway 16 and then continue Highway 16 to 54th and then loop around back to 50th to the Olive Tree. So start and end at the Olive Tree. They have been amazing. So they're actually going to be doing the meal for us and serving for everybody. So very excited about that. But to walk around the downtown core, I think is very, very important. In the past couple of years, we've done it at Bud Miller.
Yeah.
But we've wanted to bring it back to the downtown. This is where we are. This is where there's more. The unhoused community members are throughout the city, but this is where the visibility is a lot stronger and a lot higher, right? So wanted to bring it back to downtown, get businesses, get different groups and organizations taking part in walking downtown for an hour. So I know everyone, like so many people on my team that are walking from the shelter, they're like, oh, well, I hope it's a really mild day. And I was like, I hope it's frigid and I hope it's uncomfortable, because I really want. It's only 1 hour. It's a 5-kilometer loop, or you could do a 2-kilometer out and back, whatever your preference is. But it's an hour to put yourself in their shoes. So we can bundle up for an hour just to experience what it is to be outside. Hopefully it's minus 30. As uncomfortable as it is to say that.
You're the only person saying that.
I'm the only one saying that, but I think it's really good to then put it into perception that this is an hour of our time. But some individuals, this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until hopefully a shelter space opens up. So that's the whole point of Coldest Night, is let's put ourselves in their shoes for 1 hour, and then we get to have a hot meal, we get to talk about it, take pictures and that kind of stuff as well. But I think it just needs to create a little bit more awareness and talking points on the challenges that our community members face.
How do you get involved, Kagan?
So if you go to cnoy.org/Lloydminster. You can actually register a team, so you can become a team captain, register other individuals from your organization or from your community group. Or if you just want to go and donate, you can see there's actually a list of 13 teams already registered. Last year we only had 9.
Oh,
so
wow.
We've got 13 team registered. We've got 49 participants. We've already raised $9,500. And it's not even the day yet. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, you can go to the website and do a donation to one of the teams or one of the walkers. I wanted to bring these toques. So every year there's a different toque.
Yeah, I have a bright yellow one that I just love, actually.
Yeah, so the Coldest Night of the Year toque. So anybody that fundraise that's doing the walk, that fundraise at least $150, they get a toque. If you're a youth up to 18 years old, if you raise $75, then you get a toque as well. So It's just exciting to see how many people are walking around with the new toques this year. Obviously, there's a lot of toques from previous years, but it's something that we look forward to every year.
So, who should participate? Who would you like to see come out?
I would love to see anybody from the community. I love businesses. The one thing that we've never done in the past years was sponsorship. So this is something that I've learned from attending all of the different webinars, is that because it's a big company that is actually putting on the walk, there's obviously marketing costs and all of that kind of stuff. So they keep a portion of the proceeds that are actually going through. So we actually get to keep an extra 15% of the proceeds. So it stays here in our community and it's towards our company if we're able to raise at least $10,000 in sponsorships. And we're so grateful because Home Depot has already put in $1,000. Mary Brown's Chicken has also put in $1,000. So we're at the $2,000 right now. So we still need to hopefully get another $8,000 in sponsorship, just so that we can obviously keep more of that money here in the community of Lloydminster as well. So one thing that one other community has done is they do something called motivational markers. So it's a low cost sponsorship opportunity. So, you know, when you go to marathons and there's those little signs that are stuck in the ground and it's got like motivational quotes as you're running. So we're actually selling those. They're $650 for a motivational marker. They're going to be a motivational marker in every 500 meters. So there's 9 that are available to be sold. So you get your branding printed on it and then you put whatever motivational quote you want. Maybe it's something that ties into your business, or maybe it's just something that you want to encourage those who are doing the walk with us that day. So hopefully we can sell 9 of those motivational markers as well from a sponsorship perspective to get us closer to that goal.
How do you get a hold of if you'd like to do that, Kagan?
So you can just reach out to me either at the shelter, 306-825-3977, or you can send me an email, so executive-director@lloydminstershelter.com, and I would be more than happy to sit down with you and have a conversation in regards to sponsorship.
You said that there's $150 to get the toque. Is
Yep.
there a minimum that you have to raise? Is there a sign-up fee, anything like that?
No fees, no minimums that you have to raise. It's just something that to get the conversation going and share on your social media that you're taking part in this walk, and encourage others to come. So I'm very excited that we've got 49 walkers already registered. The most we've had, so I looked actually at the history since 2013, the most we've actually had in attendance historically is 80 people. So I have a feeling it's going to be a much bigger crowd this year, so I'm very excited to see how many people come out from the community.
And that meal, like that comes with your, like do you have to raise a certain amount?
No, the meal comes with it. So as long as you're registered as a walker, you're able to attend. So,
anything I'm forgetting to ask?
No, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited about Coldest Night of the Year. I can't believe that it's less than a month away already. But yeah, thank you.
Well, I hope it's not minus 30.
Yeah.
Like you do, but appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming in and clearing up some things, and we'll look forward to that symposium in May. I hope you'll come back and update us on how to get involved with that as we get closer to that date. But we really appreciate your time. Thank you, Kagan.
Thank you.
We'll be back with you tomorrow, and we're looking forward to finding out about the Sprinkle Kindness campaign that is happening again this year at Sobeys with Mother Teresa Early Learning Childhood as well. So that will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.